I spent $347 on groceries last week. A Norwegian spent $573. So why does the Norwegian have more money left over than I do at the end of the month? That doesn't make any sense, right? Higher prices should mean less savings. But here's what broke my brain. After analyzing 127 data points across housing, healthcare, transportation, and daily expenses over the last 30 days, I discovered something that fundamentally challenges everything Americans believe about budgeting. The average Norwegian saves 11.2% of their disposable income. The average American? 4.1%. And I'm about to show you the exact mathematical reason why, but first, you need to understand what I found on day 23 of this experiment. Because that's when everything clicked, and I realized we've been lied to about what expensive actually means. Look, if you're tired of finance YouTubers telling you to just skip the lattes, while ignoring the systemic reasons why Americans are drowning, you're in the right place. This channel exists because I got sick of surface-level comparisons that treat symptoms instead of diagnosing the disease. Here's the deal. I don't want casual viewers. I want the 1% of people who actually read the footnotes. Who question the narrative. Who understand that real wealth isn't about income, it's about what you keep, what you're protected from, and what you never have to worry about in the first place. If that's you, hit subscribe. Not for me. For yourself. Because you're about to see data that most financial experts either don't know, or deliberately ignore. Let's get into it. Okay, so here's how this started. I'm a 34-year-old American making $68,000 a year. Solidly middle class, right? I wanted to know, what would my life look like if I earned the equivalent income in Norway and followed their budgeting patterns? So I built a parallel budget. Same income level. Same lifestyle goals. Same person, just relocated financially to Oslo instead of Austin, Texas. Day one nearly gave me a heart attack. Norwegian effective tax rate at my salary level? Around 25%. Mine in Texas? About 24% when you factor in federal, state, well, no state tax in Texas, but payroll taxes hit hard, and everything else. So immediately, I'm thinking, wait, that's basically the same. Where's this massive tax difference everyone talks about? Turns out that Norwegians pay crazy high taxes, narrative. It's more complicated than the headlines suggest. But then I started adding up the invisible taxes Americans pay. And that's when my skepticism started to crack. Real quick, pause. If you're still watching, you're already different. Most people clicked away at tax rate because they've been conditioned to react, not analyze. You didn't. That tells me something about you. You're the kind of person who wants the full equation, not just the headline. You understand that being smart with money means understanding systems, not just symptoms. So here's your confirmation, subscribe. Not because I need it. But because this channel is built for critical thinkers, and the algorithm needs to know you exist. That's how we grow this movement. Alright. Back to the data, because it gets wild. Let's talk about what Americans pay after taxes, the stuff that doesn't show up on a W-2 but drains bank accounts every single month. Healthcare. Me in Texas, $380 per month for a high-deductible health insurance plan. Plus a $6,000 deductible I have to hit before insurance pays a dime. So in reality, I'm budgeting around $880 per month if I actually use healthcare. Norwegian equivalent? $0 per month in premiums. Healthcare is tax-funded. If they need to see a doctor, they pay maybe $20 to $40 per visit, with an annual cap of around $305. After that, everything's free. So while I'm paying $10,560 a year in premiums and deductibles, they're paying $305. That's a $10,255 difference. Per year. Every year. Childcare. I don't have kids yet, but I ran the numbers anyway because this is staggering. Average cost of daycare in Austin? $1,400 per month. In Norway? Government subsidized max cap of around $190 per month. American cost, $16,800 per year. Norwegian cost, $2,280 per year. Difference? $14,520 per kid. Per year. And here's the kicker, that Norwegian cap actually dropped recently because the government decided affordability mattered more than balancing the childcare budget. Imagine that. Transportation. I drive a used Toyota. Car payment, $420 per month. Insurance, $165 per month. Gas, $180 per month. Maintenance, $100 per month average. Total, $865 per month, or $10,380 per year. Norwegians in cities like Oslo? Most don't own cars. Public transit pass, around $95 per month. That's $1,140 per year. And their trains actually work. They're clean. They're on time. They're reliable. Wild concept. Difference, $9,240 per year. So let me just pause here and add this up. Because even I didn't believe it until I saw it on paper. Healthcare, $10,255 saved. Childcare, one kid $14,520 saved. Transportation, $9,240 saved. Total annual savings, $34,015. Now here's the re-hook. Remember that tax difference I mentioned on day one? At $68,000 per year, the Norwegian pays maybe 1% more effectively, that's about $680 more in taxes. But they're saving $34,015 in expenses. Net benefit, $33,335 per year. That's an extra $2,778 per month in real, spendable money. Here's my question for you, and I'm actually going to read these comments. Would you rather pay nearly identical taxes and cover $34,000 in hidden costs, or pay 1% more in taxes and have healthcare, childcare, and transportation basically covered? Drop your answer below. I want to see who's thinking with their gut versus who's thinking with a calculator. Go. Okay, so at this point, I'm thinking, fine. The math works. But what about quality of life? Surely Norwegians are miserable, right? Eating ramen, living in shoebox apartments, freezing in the dark to save money? Not even close. Housing. Rent for a one-bedroom apartment in Austin, $1,650 per month. Rent for a one-bedroom in Oslo, around $1,580 per month. Yeah. Basically the same. Oslo's expensive, but so is every major American city now. The difference? That Oslo apartment probably has better insulation, lower utility costs, and you're not paying $200 per month for a car to get anywhere. Food. I tracked every meal. Groceries in Norway are significantly more expensive, about 60% higher on average. My weekly shop in Austin, $85. Norwegian equivalent, $136. Let me be clear, this is real. Norway has the highest food prices in Europe. A gallon of milk that costs me $3.50 in Texas. That's $6.50 in Oslo. Chicken breast. Double the price. Eating out. A casual dinner that costs $15 here is $28 there. But here's what happened, when I budgeted like a Norwegian, I shopped differently. Meal prepped more. Wasted less. Bought seasonal. Ate out less frequently because cooking at home is just what you do. My actual monthly food spending in Texas, $340. Norwegian equivalent with adjusted habits, $510. That's $170 more per month. Real money. But when you're saving $2,778 per month on other expenses, that $170 doesn't break the budget. Dining and entertainment. A beer in Oslo, $12. In Austin, $7. A movie ticket in Oslo, $16. In Austin, $13. Yes, fun is more expensive. But when you're not hemorrhaging money on healthcare premiums and car payments, you can afford a $12 beer without checking your account balance first. Alright, I need to tell you something. This video? It's part of a 3-part series. Next week, I'm breaking down the hidden salary, all the benefits Norwegians get that don't show up in their paycheck but would cost Americans an extra $40,000 plus per year. Parental leave. Vacation time. Sick leave. Pension contributions. It's, honestly, kind of devastating to compare. And the week after that? We're going macro. I'm analyzing whether the Norwegian model could ever work in the US, or if we're too far gone. But here's the thing, YouTube's algorithm is chaos. If you don't subscribe and hit the bell, you might miss the next part. And this research? It only matters if it reaches people who actually care about understanding the system. So do me a favor, do yourself a favor, subscribe now. Because this isn't just about Norway. It's about understanding what's possible when a society decides to structure itself differently. Alright. Let's keep going. By day 17 of this experiment, something weird started happening. I stopped checking my bank account every day. I know that sounds small, but think about it, how many Americans wake up and immediately check their balance? How many of us feel a little spike of anxiety every time we swipe a card? That's not just about money. That's about uncertainty. In America, even middle-class people live with this constant hum of financial dread. Because we know. One hospital visit could mean bankruptcy. One car accident could derail our budget for months. One kid could mean choosing between daycare and retirement savings. Norwegians don't carry that weight. And I didn't realize how heavy it was until I simulated living without it for 30 days. The stress tax. There's no line item for this in a budget. But financial stress costs Americans in ways we don't measure. Lost productivity at work. Health problems caused by chronic anxiety. Relationship strain over money fights. Delayed life decisions, marriage, kids, career changes, because the risk feels too high. Norwegians aren't smarter. They aren't more disciplined. They just live in a system that removed the financial landmines most Americans spend their entire lives trying to dodge. And that's not freedom. That's survival mode with a 401k. Here's the part that's going to make some of you mad. And that's fine. I'd rather you be mad and thinking than comfortable and wrong. Americans are obsessed with low taxes because we've been sold this idea that taxes equals theft. That every dollar the government takes is a dollar stolen from your freedom. But here's the reality check, we're paying almost the same tax rate. At my income level, the difference is 1%. 1%. But we've been convinced there's this massive gulf because we don't see the full picture. Instead of one consolidated tax to the government, we pay 1,000 small invisible taxes to corporations. Insurance companies. Pharmaceutical companies. Hospital billing departments. Student loan servicers. For-profit daycare chains. Car-dependent infrastructure that forces vehicle ownership. We call it choice. They call it cost shifting. And the result is the same, less money in your pocket, more stress in your life. Norwegians pay a nearly identical effective tax rate at middle-class income levels. But their total cost of living, when you factor in healthcare, education, childcare, and transportation, is structured so that catastrophic expenses don't exist. And their outcomes? Better health. Longer life expectancy. Higher happiness. More social mobility. So who's actually freer? The American making $68,000 with $34,000 in annual, hidden costs, or the Norwegian making the equivalent with most of those costs covered or capped? Okay. Remember day 23? The moment I promised you at the start? Here it is. On day 23, I got a call from a friend. Medical emergency. Ambulance ride. ER visit. Surgery. He's fine, but his bill? $18,000. After insurance. And while I was on the phone with him, talking him through payment plan options, I realized, this is normal to us. We've accepted that a single unexpected health event can financially cripple a middle-class person. We've normalized it. Meanwhile, if that same thing happened to a Norwegian, the bill would be $0. Not a low bill. Not a manageable bill. Zero. Because they already hit their $305 annual cap 3 months ago with routine checkups. And that's when it hit me, this isn't about budgeting better. It's about whether your system is designed to protect you or profit off you. After 30 days of living like a Norwegian on paper, I didn't just save money. I saved energy. Mental space. The constant low-grade panic that most Americans don't even realize they're carrying. If you made it this far, you're part of the 1%. Literally. YouTube analytics show that less than 1% of viewers make it to the end of videos over 10 minutes. But you did. Because you're not here for quick dopamine. You're here for understanding. So here's my final ask, like this video. Not for the algorithm, okay, partially for the algorithm, but because it signals to YouTube that this kind of content, deep, data-driven, uncomfortable, deserves to be seen. Share it with someone who needs to see this. Someone who's stressed about money. Someone who thinks, there's no other way. Someone who still believes the system works if you just try hard enough. And comment. Tell me, did this change how you think about taxes? About budgeting? About what expensive really means? Because here's the truth, I can make these videos all day. But they don't matter unless they reach people who are ready to question the story we've been told. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one, where we're calculating the real value of a Norwegian salary when you factor in benefits Americans pay for out of pocket. It's going to hurt. But you're ready for it. Until then, stay curious. Stay critical. And stay skeptical of anyone who tells you this is just how it is. Because it's not.